I'm your host, Just a Brick Gaming, and today I'm going to be doing a beginner's guide to attack teams. Now, the thing you want to keep in mind when making an attack team is you want to at least have one damage dealer, one healer, at least a support in there just in case, and a control toon. You could have a defensive toon if you like, but I personally would recommend a attack toon, a healer, a support, and a control. So in the video, I'm going to show you 3 attack teams that I use occasionally. Now this is a free-to-play team, a bleed or burn team, a allegiance team, and a slightly premium team. Now I'm going to show you these 3 teams. I'm going to show you the basics of a attack team. So this is a free-to-play team. I would recommend having a 1535 weapon for any leader, mainly because that helps for the rest of the team. As you can see, it gives 15% attack and 35 crit to all teammates adjacent. So that means that all these other toons will get 1535. Now, here is going to be our main damage dealer, Kenny. I've selected Kenny for this team mainly because he's free to play, he's easy to access, great damage, and honestly, can't recommend this toon enough, right? So for the mods, I usually go for an attack set for Kenny, just so I can get that attack stat nice and high for him. For a weapon, I decided to go with a free-to-play weapon for this free-to-play team for him. Went with Pete Anderson's Destructive C7 75B, mainly because that splash damage and that pain spread would be pretty good. Then I have at least a healer on the team, mainly so you can get heals whilst dealing damage, because your attack team isn't really any good if you've taken damage and you can't heal said damage. So I went with Raulito because of course he's free to play. He's really good with that combat medic specialist skill, and frankly he's really good with a crit weapon. So for him I gave him this Kukwai I made, bonus AP and HP to all team members, so that's pretty good at the start of the battle. You definitely need at least a healer in my opinion. Now I have Rick on here for command reasons, because I would recommend a command toon on your attack team, but there is limited choice for free to play at the moment. There is of course Rick 2000 you can get by having the full allegiance of Skybound X toons, and of course maxing them out so you can get Rick 2000, which I actually really like this toon as a person who enjoyed the Skybound X comic book series. Then I have Molly mainly for the revives on her specialist. I believe it is, coming out alive. At the start of each turn, 40% chance to revive teammate for 50% of their max HP. I can't recommend this ability enough on her. It is actually one of the best mythic abilities. I also gave her a 100 base crit weapon just because you wanted to land crits for that Guardian too. Now there's certain abilities, specialist skills, that work better on defense teams and attack teams. I'm going to do a video on defense teams later, but for now I'm going to be doing attack teams. So beheading is pretty good for attack teams. Same with Berserker. Beheading is good because it shows you when you can decapitate an opponent, which, for those who don't know, decapitate means you can't revive them, so that is pretty good. Right, that's pretty good on an attack team, but also can work great on a defense team. Heal reduction is also good for a attack team, so you can prevent the enemy from healing. Now, maim also works great on attack teams and defense teams, but it's damage that basically can't be healed, right? Which is good, but you rarely see in the game. Normalize prevents their specialist skill from working, which is good. Trying to see, combat medic is good for both attack and defense, but I personally run it on attack teams because it makes, when you get a crit weapon for it, it works pretty great. Cutthroat is also pretty good for attack teams. Devastating Blow, 100% definitely try and get that on your team at some point, because that is really good, which basically prevents them from healing and removes all bonus HP from them, which can be annoying, especially on certain tunes. Follow up, also good. It gives you a second attack if you knock out an opponent that turn. Guardian 2 is also good. It gives your team members Guardian shields whenever you perform a crit. That's why I have a crit weapon on Molly. Hemorrhage is good. It's basically bleed damage, but it doubles each turn, I believe. Let me check in the status effects section. Somewhere here. It is. Oh, it's not here. That's weird. I swear it was. But basically, hemorrhage is bleed damage that doubles each turn, basically, which is really good. Hold the Line is good for defensive teams, in my opinion. Same with Human Shield. You're not going to have Human Shield on your attack teams. What else is good for attack teams? I guess Maniac is good if you're at a certain amount of HP. On the road, definitely good for attack teams. The rest is mainly good for defense teams. Waste Not, that's also good for attack teams. But yeah, this is going to be the free-to-play attack team. This is a burn team. Now, I like burn teams because they do damage over time, but the main problem with them is that you have to make sure they, survive. If they don't survive, then you ain't going to see the turn when they're all burned to death, basically. This team is to show off the whole allegiance thing, so certain leaders in the game will give a allegiance buff. So, for example here, Akiko, she gives Alexandria Allegiance teammates 50% crit, which is actually pretty good. It's like 50 plus crit. I misspoke then, but yeah, it's still pretty good, Crit makes it so you do extra damage, or if you're fighting a walker team, it gives you a headshot, which is an insta-kill for a walker. But some walkers have certain abilities that prevent them from being insta-killed. Now this is a slightly premium team. These are all tunes that are not currently accessible, but most of them will be accessible in events and whatnot in the future. Now, off-duty Shane, great attack leader. Definitely would recommend trying to get this toon, if you get the opportunity to, that is. As you can see, deals huge amounts of damage to free enemies and also gets Guardian Shield. So, say if you were to attack a toon with Payback, it would nullify that damage from Payback, so you wouldn't take that damage, but you will give that damage, which is good. He also gets Camouflage, which early on in the game, Camouflage made it so you can't be detected by walkers when you're fighting walker stages, but now it prevents sort of damage to adjacent teammates, basically. So they won't take damage from attacks that hit you, basically. Yeah, he's got great abilities. You know, caught off guard when attacking, well, camouflage. This fight gets 100 plus attack, which definitely good. For the weapon, I gave him his baseball bat. You know, because it's got 1535, which is, well, improved 1535, I should say. That gives 25% and 35 crit to all teammates. Then there's Thanksgiving Sophia, absolute beast of a toon. I can't recommend using her enough, mainly because of her adrenaline rush, turkey time. You know, gives her Guardian Shield and all teammates camouflage. So that means if you were to attack a Peacekeeper, which she is mainly built to destroy, she can just rip him apart and no one will receive any damage from it, which is great. We have Ajax here because Devastating Blow means they get no bonus HP and they get heal blocked, so that is great for Sophia to do damage. Laura is here mainly to assure that we get that turn 1 rush, and Ralito's here for the heals. So I want to show you the free-to-play team, and I'm going to show you the premium team. Now, this one's going to be a easy one. Some people drop defense teams, others don't, but what are you going to do about that, eh? I personally drop my defense team because I feel like it's great for others to get points in raid events and stuff. Okay, so this might be a bit of a tough one, mainly because of that Vance and Peacekeeper and Andre. It's gonna be tough for this team, but it might not be too tough for the Sophia team. So we are going to. How am I going to approach this? I'd say we try and get Kenny's rush first. Try and take out that Andre without getting knocked out. Another thing we could have done is used Trader's app. And that's why Zachary was there, to make sure you'd die at the end. Right, I'm going to try and find a team that is relatively fair for us to beat. We might be able to, maybe. First we're going to get that Infinite Confuse on Peacekeeper, so he won't be able to rush and he won't be able to do his his signature move either. Right, this is not going to go too good, thinking about it, because that Rick and that Nort are going to be huge trouble for us. This does not. Oh, they got rid of the confusion. That's not good. We're not going to win this one then. So yeah, we just move on to the Burn team. You know, that free-to-play team is good for other newer players, but it's not good for veterans of the game for fighting them. Let's see. Well, this one's going to be an easy one for us. So go and spread that burn. I always make sure to attack with Sheldon first to increase the amount of burn, then use Andrea to spread it. So as you can see, they all have 41,000 burn, which for most toons is an insta-kill. Now, I am worried about that Ghost though, because Ghost is pretty overpowered and can do that to your team. I'm not sure if they... Okay, they haven't recovered the burn yet. Now, okay, that is good. Now, I would recommend at least one healer on the team, or at least one defensive toon, so you can make sure that your team doesn't die quickly, basically. Alright. Go and try and find a team that is good for this. Okay. Yeah. Not too crazy about that Eris level. Yeah, Eris. So, we go for the heal block on... Okay, that did not work. That's not good. We try that again and see if we get that being a devastating blow. No. Right, that's going to make this slightly more difficult. Okay, that's good. We get that turn 1 rush with Sophia. As you can see, actually no, I didn't do enough to trigger it. Alright, let's try and find a different team. Yeah, this team looks good enough for us. Okay, so because of that Uncle Sam, we can now rush turn 1 with Sophia at the start, which is a good start. So, with Sophia, boom. No one takes any damage from Peacekeeper. Now, we just finish them both off with Off-Duty Shane because he's really good. Let's do one more. Ooh, okay. Alright, we got the devastating blow off. Now this is odd. Now this is more of a offensive, defensive team, which personally I say isn't good. I would never recommend that sort of thing. Like an offensive defense team. It doesn't make sense really, because you don't want to deal damage as a defense team. If anything, you'd want to stall. That should be your number 1 goal for defense team, but I'll get into that in a different video. So because of that 100% heal reduction, she cannot heal this turn. And that is pretty good for stopping defense teams. So that's going to be the video. This is mainly a video for new players for trying to figure out the game. Today we discussed a free-to-play team of tunes that are currently available, but ain't as good as tunes that are for premium, basically. We also discussed burn teams, which I personally say is really good. Big problem there is you're going to encounter tunes that either remove bleed or burn damage or outright resist it, which is annoying, but is something to make sure the game's balanced at the end of the day. We've also discussed allegiance teams, so teams that are mainly revolved around one allegiance, this one being about Alexandria. And we also discussed premium teams, which, as you just saw, can do a lot of damage and are often really good. So that should do it for today's video, guys. Next video from me should be a how to basic for defense teams, because lots of people definitely might need help with defense teams. I certainly did at the start, but anyway, this is Just a Brit speaking, signing out.